Hey guys, welcome back. Brand new build series, and we're working with the Desert Babe, which is Eduard's or Revell's 48 scale Tornado GR1 in the Desert Storm Gulf War markings from 1991. Now, yeah, it's going to be a cool kit to build. It's going to be a challenge because Revell, and yeah, so we're going to do the introduction, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the cockpit tub. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so Eduard's limited edition Desert Babe. Now I have the 48 scale and I have the 72nd scale version. Decided I went with the 48, the bigger version for this video build series. Now this came out a few years ago. It's a very hard to find kit, and for me, it's it's all about building. I'm not collecting kits, and although it's limited edition, I want to build it. Just want to keep it in my stash for years. So it's a Revell kit, which, as we know, is a bit of a handful. I built tons of these 48 scale and 72nd scale and even 32nd scale tornadoes from Revell in the past, and yeah, they can be a handful. So the key with these, I think, really, if you can build a tornado in 48 scale, is buy one of the earlier boxings, because what they've done is they've spun off so many different color schemes and versions and used the same tooling. So as years and decades have gone by, it just got softer and softer. So if you can get yourself, if you don't have Desert Baby, you want to build a tornado, go back and see if you can find one on eBay from like 20, 25 years ago. I think it's going to be a lot crisper and better plastic and better fitting than the ones you buy nowadays, for the reasons I just mentioned. So tons of aftermarket stuff. I went a little crazy with this one over the years, but let me kind of open you up and open this up and see what we got going on here. All right, so big bag of plastic, which is basically the Revell kit. Now this is a darker gray color, and I think when I did the review, it does look okay. My test with these kits to know if you have a good kit or not is looking at the wings. And excuse all the rustling here. Where are the wings? Right in the middle. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Now, the key to knowing you have a good kit, for me, is this. If these on the wings are molded okay with not too much flash, you generally have a pretty good kit, and this one is. Along here too. See those guys sticking out the back of the wings? That's my key to checking, because some kits, things just molded, it's all flashy, you can't even see the lines. So my gauge in any of these Revell 48 scale tornado kits, if you're looking model shell, whatever, open a box and look at these on the back of the wing. And if these are molded well, generally the rest of the kit is in good shape. So all this plastic, which I'm going to pull out of the way and kind of talk about the extras. So we've got the decals, mask set for the canopy, which is awesome. We have some resin wheels. We have some resin seats. I think I might have some resin nozzles as well in my spares. I need to go back and look. I'm not sure if I use those or not. Scheme-wise, like I say, I've built a few of these in the past. I just want to do something a little different. So I think I want to do the shark's mouth, maybe. Is it shark's mouth? Now, some of these, maybe this one, the Golf Killer, I think, who knows, game time decision, but probably this one. I've done Check 6, I think, before, and I've done Foxy Killer as well. Some of these do get a little bit risque. You couldn't imagine, putting that on the side of your aircraft now. What this was 91, so what we 33 years later, times have changed, right? Some other ones here, and there we go. There's quite a few schemes in this. That's H. So what is 8? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Yeah, check my alphabet. That's the 8th letter. We'd have to worry about this for a long time, the scheme. We do get the photo etch, and we do get color for the seat belts and the instruments, and we do get the various things, fan blades and various other parts in here too. And it's a nice little boxing. Now, someone actually reached out to me recently about this, about building one of these, and don't fret if you can't get this at a reasonable price. Like I said, just buy the Revell kit, and you can just basically, get the decals. There's tons of decal options out there, and knock yourself out and maybe get like a Quinta Studios cockpit set. Not cheap, I think they're about $50, but I do have some resin, like TV screens and stuff, and monitors and stuff for resin. So it's quite a nice pack. So also, I've got all of these. So being a tornado nut, I did buy every single pretty much aftermarket set. Now, not all of these I will use on this build. One thing we will use for sure is the JP233 dispenser pod. This is really, for me, iconic when you think of a Gulf War GR1 tornado. So these guys went in the bottom, and if you think back to early days of Gulf War, they flew really low over the airfields, and basically these are full of cluster munitions, and basically an anti-runway, not sure the exact word, like runway deny weapon or something or whatever. So they flew over the runways and just opened these pods, and all these cluster munitions dropped out and basically destroyed the runway and made them unusable. Now, the tactics at the time, a lot got shot down because obviously, you know, going small arms fire and AAA and stuff, flying low over airfields early on, they had a lot of casualties. Now, I think later on, I think they changed the strategy and they brought in the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers did some laser designating. Again, you can check back. Fighter Pilot Podcast actually did a good video or podcast about this. So we've got various chaff dispenser. We've got Sky Shadow Pod. Probably not going to use these, or alarm missiles. We've got the High Owl Pod. We've got some Paveway missiles. Again, Paveway 2, probably not going to use on this one. But yeah, definitely the JP233. Also, they do this in 72nd scale. I did buy this as well for my Desert Babe in 72nd scale because, again, any tornado, Gulf War, I feel should have this on it. And there we go. So that's quite a lot of stuff going on there. Gives an idea what got going on. I'm going to search my drawer just to see my spares drawer because, like I said, I built a few of these. I'm pretty sure I have some more aftermarket we can throw at it as well if need be. But what we're going to do, I think, start with is the cockpit tub. So I'll get all these put away, get the plastic out, and we'll start building. All right, so kind of catch you up to where I'm at now and ready for some prime. So cockpit tub, as you can see, I sanded down all the parts. Now, I didn't sand off. Oh, that's clever. It's dropped on the floor. So see how, oh, we're still good. So throttles here, I didn't sand off. There's photo etch for that. But again, I hate photo etch. I don't like using it unless I have to. The flat stuff's fine. But when you're curving around bends and that kind of stuff, I just, yeah, this scale, I'm going to stick with the plastic one. So I just sanded around it. And when we get to that photo etch, if need be, we can cut around it too. Again, I'm not going to create out photo etch. It seems like a nightmare to me. Sand all the panels down, put the back panel on, and this guy's gone in as well. Again, same deal with the instrument panels front and back, just sanded them down. Don't worry about, you know, getting them smooth. If you have some, like, you know, sand them down pretty roughly, it actually creates probably some grooves for the glue to stick to, and actually probably better to glue the photo etch to. Front panel too, again, so combination, you're using a thin sanding stick to get the small parts, and generally using a coarse sanding stick. This is a cordless grit, the white one from Flory Models, just to really get the detail off. Yeah, this white one, rough, we'll just carve through it. So if you're too fine, you'll be there for hours trying to get this detail off. So that's done. On here, I have drilled the holes per the instructions, something I normally forget. So a couple here, a couple there. I think maybe I drilled one too many up here. I don't remember. Anyway, just drilled all the holes and glued this part in for the nose gear. Simples. What else is a fly going around? Built the seats, resin. I lost one of these little hoses, so I just got some wire and just glued some wire on there. Again, that'd be fine. You're not going to see. So the hoses are all on. Well, again, resin, very fine, hard to kind of sand and get on, but super glued them all together. And there are some seat belts on there anyway afterwards. So yeah, so basically cut those off the blocks. As always, check my other videos, but use the you know, the saw, cheap little Zona saw, and just cut through the block. And resin dust is obviously harmful, so as soon as it's done, vacuum up all the dust, and with a either wet paper towel, or I have some IPA here, just wipe down the desk, get any dust away, and get rid of it right away. And that really is it. You could probably, at this stage, I mean, you could probably wash the seats being resin molded before you painted them, but I've added all the details to them, and I think some just fell off. Does something fall off? Or maybe not. So I'm just going to prime straight onto these. This size and this scale, I think it'll be fine. Sorry, I'm seeing what came off. So that's kind of where we're at. So what I'm going to do basically is prime all these up, get them all painted, and then we can get the photo etch put on. All right, so making some progress here. Cockpit's painted up. and I glued it on so it doesn't roll around, so it's pretty stable. And use Nalo Gray, which is MRP 96. So there we go. You can probably use Tamiya. I can't remember off the top of my head which color it is, but basically, yeah, I have this, so why not use that? And hand painted the seats. Well, firstly, 317 is the color for guns for overall seat, and then hand painted the various parts, the pads, olive drab, and all the other parts hand painted. And now onto some photo etching. So before we put panels down on here, I think it's better to do the instrument panels first because there's a thickness involved. So when once you offer these up, then you can bring in your other panels and line it up with that. I think that's the way to go. So with these, it's basically black one goes down first, and then you put the gray over the top, and then the black shows up, through the holes. So using the Gator Grip Thin Blend, just a PVA glue. Don't rush out and buy this necessarily. Just use your usual PVA glue. If it's thick, you can just add a touch of water just to thin it down. Now, top tip: if you, unlike me right now, if you put your glue down 20-30 minutes before you actually do the photo etch, it will dry a lot quicker and it'll be easier to work with. Because otherwise, it takes a while to set. So PVA glue for all these panels, seat belts, and all smaller parts. I'm going to use super glue, get that instant bond. So what I'm going to do simply is take my glue with a toothpick, just figuring out where it goes, okay, and smear it all over. And this glue dries clear, so over the instrument panels and stuff, actually gives a glass effect. We can also come back in afterwards and add some, some gloss PVA glue if we want to, some Mod Podge, and just smear it all in. Don't worry about it. Again, this stuff dries clear. And I'm going to bring in the part which I cut off already. Just going to line it up to where it goes. And I'm just going to use some of these paint clips, these alligator clips, just to kind of hold it in place. So where it dries basically, for 20 minutes or so. I did notice with these things, they do have a tendency to kind of lift up with the PVA glue. Whereas again, if you're using super glue, you won't necessarily worry about that. So that is it. Again, the middle bit, you see all the wet glue, don't worry about it. It's going to dry clear. And yeah, just take your time, step at a time. So leave that for an hour, then do the side panels, and this one's done already. And again, just work your way through step by step with the seat belts. Again, so you touch of super glue, get those on. And yeah, that's basically it. So I'm going to do all these first, get them all put in, and then we'll come back and add a little bit of a wash. Okay, so as you can see, making quite a lot of progress here. And got it buttoned up and add a nose weight. So just a 1 ounce fishing weight, and as always, my clear Gorilla Glue. This works great for any kind of weight, and it doesn't damage your plastic or anything. Just takes a few hours to go off, so typically, as I always say, my last job of the evening is to glue nose weight in, close up the shop, and leave for the night, and then when I come back in the morning, it's fully dried and not moving anywhere. Put one side in, glued, and found it was really useful to use the old cement rather than extra thin glue. Let it dry for a little bit, and then glue the other side on, and actually the fit is really good. And as you can see, we are looking pretty awesome in there. So added a bit of Tamiya putty just on the top here for the seam line, and using my sanding stick, just going to sand that back. As you notice too, as I'm sanding this, let's talk about photo etch. There's a photo etch HUD and various other parts, like the throttle. I just kept the plastic one in, man. It's just too much work to fool around with that stuff. And it never turns out good. It's always crappy. So just kept with the plastic. I'm not working on a museum piece here, so that's more than adequate for me. It'll probably turn out better in the end as well when you fool around with that photo etch. All right. And there we go. A little bit more sanding up here. But we got that seam line taken care of. And as always, with filling and putty and stuff, the more putty you put on, the more you have to remove. So go sparingly. I think once that's all primed up, excuse me, blowing again. Once it's good, that's fine. That seam line back there, I don't worry about because you're going to add the TV screens basically on top later on. What else? Oh, let me a little bit more sanding. Just make sure this is good. And excuse me while I clean up. Alright, next up, my Mod Podge Super Gloss Brilliant Extreme. I've not pulled this out for quite a few months, to be honest with you. This is years worth in here because I use so little. And I'm going to get a fresh toothpick. And this basically dries like glass. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some on the bottom of the toothpick and on the certain areas here in the cockpit tub. Hindsight, I should maybe done this before I buttoned it up. And just gonna kind of self levels a little bit. There on the screen back here. Just gonna cover some of these screens up with it. And again, like I mentioned, it's gonna dry and create that nice kind of glass look. In this light, you're not going to see it so well, I don't think. So I've got that screen in there. A bit more. And there we go. So yeah, I'm going to let this dry, and then we're going to add a little wash to everything. And then once we've done that, we can wrap this video up. So yeah, I'm going to paint the front here black again. We're going to add a wash to all these seats and everything. And yeah, I think we're done. But 48 scale, I'm quite happy how that looks, to be honest with you. Okay, and we are done. Looking very good indeed. Just added a quick wash of Starship filth, as always, to the cockpit tub. Simply very dilute, a little tiny bit of oil, bunch of enamel thinners, make a little wash up, and then just splashed it all over the seats and the cockpit tub. Pick out a little bit more detail, and we're looking pretty awesome. Again, you don't see much inside this on a Tornado because it's up pretty high on the shelf. You're not really going to see inside there too much. Another thing, again, remember, make sure you drill those holes out. And oh, nose weight's in there. It's all dry now. It's not going anywhere. And ready to move on next week to the fun and games of trying to get this main assembly done, which is a challenge. So yeah, thank you for joining as always. Hopefully you enjoy this one, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.